Here is my demonic centaur story. It isn't very long, but it is quite strange. A bit of background. This happened at my aunt's house, which all sorts of strange things happened at. She found out the house was built on some sort of Native American ritual grounds, which may have something to do with it, but I'm not entirely sure. When I was a teenager, I spent a lot of time with her. I would help her out with my younger cousins, so I would often spend the night and crash on the sofa. I never actually experienced any of the strange stuff happening at her house until this. I was 16 at the time. I was sleeping on the sofa, like I always did, and began having a nightmare. In my dream, there was a horned, red, demonic centaur. Man, a centaur trying to pull me off the sofa by my left foot. For those who don't know, a centaur is a half man, half horse. The man is the top half. The house was entirely the same in my dream, with the wall my feet were facing being the only difference. It was a wall of flames and appeared to be a giant furnace. The centaur was trying to pull me into the flames. I was kicking and screaming, trying to get him off me, but I couldn't make a sound in my dream. When I woke up, I was covered in sweat and felt myself being pulled off the sofa. A cloaked black figure pulling me by the same foot was over me. Soon as I saw it, it released my foot. It went through the dining room and into the kitchen. It didn't make a sound and didn't walk. It just floated. I was shaking and had no idea what to do. My heart had been racing for a good 10 minutes. When I started to calm down, I eventually went to the kitchen and checked for the cloaked figure. Nothing was there. It took me a while to fall back asleep, and I eventually did. My aunt always woke up earlier than I did. When I woke up, I immediately started telling her what had happened the night before, and when I pointed down to my left foot, I had seen a swollen mark the size of a golf ball. We both kind of just looked at each other and then freaked out. I put some ice on it, and we eventually left the house. I went with her to do some errands. The swelling started going down later that evening. It was not painful and didn't even itch, which was really strange. I went home that night. The next day she called me and told me she found a very strange looking red spider near the sofa I was sleeping on. She said it looked wicked, and that's in quotes, and she had never seen one like that in her life. I wish she had taken a picture, but she killed it right away. I still have no idea what happened that night, but it always gives me chills when I tell people about it. Yes. It's crazy. You ever been bit by a spider?
No, I have not, thank God.
I got bit by a spider in my sleep once, and it was the worst, one of the worst pains I've ever had, and my foot ballooned.
Oh God.
Horrible pain. I did not see a centaur.
Yeah, what was the dream like?
But yeah, no, I didn't have any cool dreams, unfortunately. But yeah, it's a crazy story. Thanks for sending it. So who do we have? Who's our first caller?
Okay, okay, we have Bradley. Let me go ahead and bring Bradley in. Bradley, are you with us, Bradley?
Yes. Oh, hang on.
What's up, Bradley?
Here. Can you hear me?
We can.
Hear you.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Thanks for calling in.
I wanted to make sure that I had everything set up. I'm not too loud in the mic, am I?
No, you sound perfect to us.
Sound good, yeah.
Who knows what everyone else
hopefully
say,
hopefully people watching can hear you well, but I think so. Yeah, so Bradley, what has happened to you?
Well, a lot of things. I've been a practicing pagan since the age of 10, and I've dealt with a lot of different entities, and this particular story that I wanted to share with everyone is about a notoriously haunted graveyard in a town that I grew up in.
Let's hear it.
And so me and 4 of my friends decided we were going to go out and visit this graveyard. My friend Neil, who is a rune worker and also a wand maker, he decided this would be a great idea for us to go and do some sort of a paranormal investigation. And he took his then girlfriend, now wife, Laurel, and her friend Gloria, and me and my friend Sean out there. And this graveyard is back in the middle of the woods of Missouri. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Is it like a very old graveyard, one of those super old ones?
It has gravestones from the 1830s and 1820s.
Nice.
So it's a very old graveyard. Now, we get out to this graveyard, and the way it's set up is it's got half of it on flat ground at the bottom towards the entrance, and then the other half is built on a very steep hill. But one of the notorious features of this is there is a baby that was buried up in the back corner up on top of the hill. So we're going around, we're searching the gravestones, and Neil, Laurel, and Gloria decide they're going to go up to the baby's grave. And Sean and I stay towards the entrance, and we're looking at some of the older gravestones that are there. Then I look over at Sean. He's just distraught and really worried that something bad is going to happen. I ask him, what's wrong? And he says, man, I just think that we need to get out of here. And I was like, well, then let's go get them and let's go before something bad happens. Right as I say that, a rock flies from the gravel road and hits me. And it flies past Sean's face whenever this happens. We both look over towards the road and we hear laughing. Not child laughing. This is more adults. And what we see are 3 pairs of spectral skeletal legs running down the road away from us. And we just both look at each other and say, we need to go now. And so we yell at Neil and the girls that something bad just happened and we need to go. Neil screams, what? Why? What happened? And right as he says that, all of the largest and oldest trees surrounding this graveyard start lighting up and glowing like they have a spotlight on them. Now, mind you, it is a cloudy night. We did have a full moon that night, and this was during the witching hour that we decided to go to this graveyard. And so the moon is making all the clouds glow, but it's behind a hill where, it would be sitting in the sky at that point, and there's too many clouds. You cannot see it. So there's no reason these trees should have been glowing. As soon as that happens, all 3 of them come running down that hill, and they get over towards the entrance, and we're about to start piling into the car. We see this black figure at the back of the graveyard start running towards us. We all panic and start just rushing into the car as fast as we can. And Neil is trying to start this car. Just trying to start it. Runs it 5 times. It's still not starting. It finally kicks on. And right as he turns the headlights on, that figure is almost to the entrance of the graveyard. And then there's no wind, by the way. All of a sudden, that black figure, as soon as the lights turn on, turns into what is essentially just a cloud of leaves that blow away and then just settle on the ground because there was no other wind.
When you say black figure, is this like a shadow type situation, or can you describe the way it looked?
Yes, it was just basically like the outline of a shadow. What we think it was is the watcher for a graveyard, because many graveyards, especially older ones, have a spirit that watches over the graves, and if you start doing things that it deems disrespectful, they will do things to scare you out. They're usually not harmful. We didn't know that at the time, obviously, but I think Neil and the girls going up towards the baby's grave might have angered whatever this thing was and decided we needed to go.
Did everyone see that figure?
Yes, all 5 of us did.
Wow, and the
We were all
glowing...
screaming. Yep. Well,
Wow.
The trees were glowing so bright that it lit up the entire graveyard. You could see clear as day in the middle of this graveyard.
Okay, so the light was happening across the tombstones as well, up into the canopy of the trees?
Yeah, it was only the largest trees. They just lit up like they were being spotlights. It was the craziest thing that I'd ever seen.
Wow.
Like, I've seen shadow people before. That didn't freak me out near as much as the trees just started glowing.
Yeah, that's interesting. And when you finally got the car started, you left and that was it? Have you returned to the graveyard?
I've returned to it since, and I've also learned from a spiritual counselor of mine. I have 2 of them. There's one that's more angelic and one who follows the more demonic path. And apparently in the field across from that graveyard, there is a demonic dragon spirit that actually exists according to his own research. But I haven't had any personal confirmation on that. But that graveyard is notorious for having all sorts of different things happen. I've known people that have gone out there with brand new vehicles, no problems at all with them, and their car wouldn't start whenever they've encountered a dark figure like that.
Interesting. Can you describe what a dragon demon might be?
It's just basically like a prince of hell. It's more of a dragon spirit. There's all sorts of different demonic entities. I mean, if you read any demonology book, you'll see just a huge variation, and a lot of the times a wide variety just in one single demon.
Right.
Just be just an amalgamation of all sorts of different things.
Right.
But this particular one just so happened to be a dragon spirit, and there's a lot of ley lines that exist in that part of Missouri, and what they do is they corrupt those ley lines and feed off of them, and that in turn also makes it very difficult for people to leave. Like, everyone that leaves that town always ends up going back, and they've actually ended up twisting the ley lines in that area into a vortex that sucks people back in. And part of the reason why that thing doesn't like me is I managed to get away and states away, and I don't go back if I don't have to.
Smart.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Well, that's a crazy story.
Yeah, that's wild.
I also like going to old graveyards, and
We know Shane.
I haven't seen anything like that in a graveyard, but certainly have had feelings of being watched in graveyards, and seeing a baby's grave in an old graveyard is like, it's something traumatic just seeing that. And should the shadow figure exist, kind of like that he's protecting it.
Is hanging out in like cemeteries and graveyards the same as having a Ouija board?
I would say no, but Bradley, what do you think?
Sometimes it can be, but that depends on your psychic sensitivity. If you are highly sensitive and also strongly practicing like what I do, especially with different kind of spirits, because what I do as a pagan is I seek out darker entities, more of the like mid-range and low range, nothing high-end like the dragon demon that lives across from this graveyard, but I seek to remove them once they've overstayed their purpose. Whenever you have a demonic possession in a house or haunting like that, they are usually demons that are basically fugitives, because sadly, as much of a pain in the ass as they are, sorry for swearing, but they do have a purpose, and their purpose is to teach hard lessons. As my spiritual counselor said, the last teacher you have is pain, because it is the only one you have no choice but to listen to. What are demons best at? Causing you pain. They teach you lessons. But whenever they overstay their welcome, they have to be removed. And that's where I come in, or your priest from a Catholic church, or someone that knows how to perform exorcisms would come in. But a graveyard can be like a Ouija board if you're someone that's like me. But for most people that do not have that psychic connection with the world, it's not nearly as bad. So, I mean, you can still be scared out of a graveyard by something, but it's usually not as intense or as interactive as what it would be with someone like myself.
So you have psychic connections. That's what you're saying, right? Like you
It's one of many things that I do.
So do you have to like be seeking it, or does it just happen naturally? You're walking down the street, you're in a store or something, and then something.
I live in a part of the Wild West where a lot of people had just been killed on the plains, and so I'll be out doing my job because I work nights, and I actually have to be at work like 6 minutes ago. But but I will be out there. Yeah, but I will be out there working, and out of nowhere, I will just see a figure staring at me, and then I'll look at them. They'll just kind of stare at me for a minute, and then they just go away. And it's just one of those things, and every once in a while, someone who doesn't know what the hell they're doing or how to ward things off will summon something that's not supposed to be here, and it makes my job so much harder. So,
were you born like this? It's been like, when did you discover you had this unique talent? I don't know what you call it. It
started whenever I was 10. Me and my friend got into a bunch of mystic arts. We were in the church, and I was raised Christian, and we decided what better way to fight demonic forces than to use their own abilities against them. And so we began dabbling into that. And what really confirmed it for me was I drifted off one of my early times of actually astral projecting into a different plane of existence. It was essentially a hell realm. Not a fun place to be. Don't go there.
Doesn't sound like it, yeah.
No, I was greeted there one time by them having two captives to say hi to me and remind me that nothing's going to change there. And they lacerated their victims and began expressing their sexual proclivities with the lacerations. Yeah, not a pretty place.
Nope.
But the first time that I had messed with that place trying to deal with those things, I woke up to my first sleep paralysis demon, and he was standing over me. I couldn't move, and he stabbed a sword through my head, and I could feel all of it even though I wasn't getting physically injured.
Wow.
I was 11 at the time when that happened.
Wow.
So yeah, I've delved very deeply into it. There's a lot of things that don't mess with me now because I've gotten very skilled with it. I've actually gotten into making wands here recently, and I've made some for some witch friends of mine. But I'm going to be making one for myself here soon, just to try to help.
Bradley, I feel like we're gonna have you on to talk again. There's some more stories I think you have to tell that we'd like to hear. So I appreciate you calling in.
I could probably do an entire episode by myself.
It sounds like you have a career of this. And, well, I appreciate you calling in. Yeah, and we'll be in touch for sure. And good luck out there, and good luck at work. I hope you're not in trouble for showing up late. We appreciate you taking the time.
I'm one of the better drivers, but one thing that if anyone would like to check me out, I do have an X account. I'm not verified on there, but if you just look up Teabaggin' Elite, I'm not posting anything serious, but I mean I'm posting just pictures of my woodwork. And actually, I was going to say, Shane, if you would like, I don't know how we'd be able to get it to you, just mail it to a PO box or whatever. But if you would like, I will make you a wand to have in your house.
Dang. Well, hit me up. I have your email, and we'll talk.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Will, you want me to hit you up on the scanner email?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, I will email you on the scanner one, but I better get out of here. Y'all have a good day. And
Thank
I hope everyone else has a good one as well.